Okay, our next speaker is the current general manager for the Loft Tucson University Hotel, which is a Starwood Hotel and Resort owned and managed property. His career has included 14 plus years in the resort and hotel industry, where he has had multiple positions at the Sheraton El Conquistador, Warwick International Denver, the Westin La Paloma Resort and Spa, the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego, and now the Loft Tucson University. He is very active in the Visit Tucson organization, which we're going to hear about next, and also at the United Way here in Tucson, where he serves both on the board and the campaign cabinet. In addition to being a strong supporter of the University of Arizona Athletic Department. Please welcome Craig Martin.
So I don't know why it's going to take you 15 months. That only took like 3 minutes. So good morning. Thank you for allowing me to be here as an operator and share with you about our project. So the Loft Tucson University, we actually closed this property at the end of March 2012. We opened the first week of April 2013. So it's a 12-month turnaround, 1 month liquidation, 1 month post-construction. So about 10 months of construction. We had a small little arson fire in there that you may have seen on the news that caused us about a month delay as well. So this is actually an owned asset by Starwood Hotels. It was opened in the early 70s. Some of you may remember that as the Plaza. It had quite a few different names. And then also behind it was an old post office for those of you that are bad drivers. You went to traffic school back there, if you remember that. So that has actually since been torn down. So this is the final product. Hopefully you've been in with one of the events that we've hosted around the community or stopped in for live performance. This is our second conversion from Starwood Hotel. So Loft was a brand that really envisioned ground up construction. We got to about 45, 50 hotels. And this is our second conversion. So we ran another project coinciding with this one right outside of San Francisco. We took an old Clarion that we owned. It opened up about 6 months prior to this hotel, and now we're out there. We've got about 75 of these hotels open. The goal would be by the end of the year to get about 100. This is really a growing brand for us. We say Vision of W Hotels. It's kind of what we call the SSB or the little select serve down below W. Similar to like the Element brand for Westin. We talked about 1 year conversion, the branding, university market. So I don't know if some of you may have been involved in this project years ago. Back in 2005, we selected this project to be what we had the working name of W Light back then. We actually went to the city with permits. In my office, I have a full set of permits or plans to do a new building. So we were actually going to implode, build a new asset on the land. Except there's about 100 spot parking garage underneath the hotel, and that basin now extends essentially where the sidewalk is at Speedway and Campbell. So if you were to implode that hotel, you might risk that intersection. I don't think the city would enjoy that. So hence, we tabled that project. We actually attempted to sell that, so I don't know if any of you were involved in that process. And here we are in 2013 with basically a new asset. It's 154 guest rooms. It's got 1,700 square feet of meeting space inside, about 2,000 square feet in what we call the backyard. In addition to key features are WXYZ bar, so very heavy on the cocktail. If you've been in there, LED lit bar, polished concrete, and then refuel, kind of grab and go, 24-hour gourmet. So similar to some of the projects that we're presenting. Here's pictures pre and post conversion. This is the site as it stands now. So the back area where you see the large trees, we did have what was an old post office, or we called it the convention center. Actually, that was demolished, and that helped us come into code with parking. So it's definitely a big hot topic in our neighborhood with being close to the Sam Hughes and so forth. You can see we cut off the back deck of that. I don't know if you noticed that in the time lapse. We really cleaned up the structure of the building. And that allowed us, by cutting off that second story deck where the old pool was, allowed us to bring in a lot of natural light to the back of the building. Very, very expensive to do so, but really got the desired effect that we wanted and opened up the ceilings. You can see the parking ramp that goes down to the underground parking as well, and then the backyard area that leads to reception and so forth. Pre and post. The great thing about this product, you can see we actually tore off the front of the building and the back of the building. Inside, we had block walls, so we knew what we had to work with. So basically, we gutted everything inside, all new electrical, mechanical, plumbing. It's time to do that. The first question is probably going to be, what's the conversion cost? If you were to build it ground up, probably about 30 to 40% more than the convert. This is pretty extensive. Finished product, all king or 2 queen size beds in the guest room. They're all exactly the same size. Like I said, you had to work within those block walls. Bathrooms, rain shower heads, no bathtubs in the guest room, clean lines, digital safes, refrigerators, etc. Here's the meeting space. Built-in AV, put a large internet pipe, a 50 meg pipe on the hotel, since we know obviously bandwidth is a concern lately. This is WXYZ, so right in the main lobby area. Pool area, backyard space, so a lot of outdoor space. We know we have beautiful weather about 8 months, 9 months out of the year. No, it's always beautiful. Lots of color usage, very design forward brand, trying to get on the hot side of the furnishings. There's a lot of unique changes. We display local artwork. We change a lot of the lobby decor every 3 or 4 months to keep it fresh and new. Questions?
How much did it cost to abate the asbestos, if there was any, in that early hotel?
More than expected. Yes.
Really two different directions. One is since you went through 2 different design processes, was that second driven by the fact that your target costs needed to change or come down from where you started?
No.
Or the fact is that your costs were too high? And the second thing is, is only 1,700 square feet of meeting space at a major university as your driver? Is that enough?
Yeah, so first part of that question, 2 different design iterations. One, new build was cost prohibitive because to take apart the building, you're basically piece by piece, right? With the underground structure, you could do no implosion. So hence why we eventually got to the conversion. And we actually did try to sell the asset at some time during that time period. Second part of the question, meeting space. 1,700 square feet fits well. In our lot model, typically they're built with only about a 500 square foot tactic room. 1,700 has serviced us very well. And the reason being is the university does have a lot of meeting space on the property. So only certain schools come out. It gives us the flexibility to do about a meeting for about 100, 115 or so. And that makes sense to garner the group rooms that would associate with it. Yes?
Is there something on the roof?
There is no swimming pool on the roof, and there is no rooftop bar, unfortunately. So the swoof element, trust me, we find people on the 7th floor all the time trying to get up to that rooftop bar. So when we did I came in about 3 months before we did the closure, and we had a lot of conversation about it. We were so far into the design. there's a lot of equipment up on that rooftop, and there is some a lot of lease revenue that comes in with cell towers. Yes.
Does the Loft have any corporate target yield for an asset like this?
Specifics, it'd be hard to give you those exactly depending on the market. I mean, really for our target demographic customer, weekday you're looking at business traveler, university, you talk about professors. Weekend you have a lot of built-in activities, such as move-in and graduation and, only 6 home football games this year, but normally you have, 8? Basketball, etc. So it really balances well, especially this is a key lesson, and I know we talked about it a couple of times. It's location, right? I mean, this asset just does unbelievably well. He talks about stabilization. Good news, we're beating our performer. Stabilized very quickly, and there was higher expected demand throughout the summer, which we all talk about the cyclical cycle of the summer. So no, it's done really well compared to the numbers.
Follow-up question, how do you compare it to the Loft that you built in Phoenix in terms of performance?
2 different markets. The Loft, there's 2 different Lofts in Phoenix. There's one that's an airport market, right? That does a lot of park and fly, or a lot of stranded traveler, etc. And then there's a Loft that's in Tempe that is very close. I think you touched on it. Somebody building more, 1 million square feet of office space or something of that sort. That really targets the business clientele. So they're kind of the very similar to us. Very, very high occupancies, financial traveler, business traveler that's coming in to work in those offices during the week and on the weekend to get balanced out by the Arizona Scum Devils.
So you're outperforming the market metrics for occupancy.
What's that?
You're outperforming the market metrics for occupancy and ADR in the Tempe market with your product?
Extremely well. And that asset's actually owned by Trial.
Fred, are all the Loft hotels pretty much the same? I stayed in one, to be honest, by accident at the Philadelphia International Airport, and it was a great stay. I had never heard of the hotel brand before. And then when I walked into yours, it was like I was back in Philadelphia. I was amazed with the branding. Everything was identical. Is that something that you've done on purpose, or are there various?
Absolutely. We knew in a conversion model, we want to stay really true to that new build model. New build model is an L shape, but very similar. Exposed ceilings, polished concrete, heavy focus on cocktail lounge area, circular front desk. You'll see all the very similar elements in that. On purpose, of course.
One last question. How do you consider the size of the 150-room category in terms of your efficiencies of operation? Does it cost more per key to operate, or how would you consider?
No, I think kind of our prototype I think is 134. So this is pretty close, or 132. So 154 is pretty close to that as well. The one thing that you'll notice in the lofts, we typically don't build them, heavy on the food and beverage side, right, or on the food side. Heavy on the beverage, lighter on the food. So give you what you want in the morning. Great breakfast sandwich, something to take with you, a sandwich to take for lunch, or a salad. And then at night, it's more, light appetizers, light bites, because you're going to go out to dinner. People want to experience the city anymore, right? So rarely, if you would go to one of these major resorts in town, in the evening, their dinner restaurants aren't doing incredibly well. So we focus on what we're good at. So hence your build cost or your labor model, you don't have an executive chef. You don't build hoods into these properties or fryers, etc.
As you're looking to expand the brand to 100 hotels, what are you looking for as far as future growth? Are you looking at basically new build, or are you looking for redevelopment opportunities?
Both. I can tell you Starwood as a hotel management ownership company, we've set aside a large amount of cash to look at JV deals. Conversion or new build.
Any ideas for what markets?
I think it's really open at this point in time. We've learned a lot. Airport market does really well with these. The university market, I can tell you there's a lot of interest, kind of Midwest right now in a bunch of the university markets as well, because you get the target customer. It helps with the medical center across the street as well.